What's going on, guys? This is Lior with Compass and welcome back to the channel. Now in this video I'm actually ready to go to do a final walkthrough for a client or a couple that is going to house hack a multifamily around the Boston area. So what I thought I would do is give you guys kind of the story behind their goals, what they wanted to do when they reached out, and then I'll give you guys an actual video walkthrough of the building they're going to be buying. It's an awesome 3-family in Everett. They're gonna, it's an amazing building that I love. That's going to be killer for them. So I'll give you guys all the details, the story of how the transaction went. Hint, it was a 6-month transaction. So I'll give you guys all of that in this video. So let's get at it. What's going on, guys? This is Lior and welcome back to the channel. Now, I'm excited to tell you about this couple, as I'm going to call them JMV. If you guys are watching, congratulations on your purchase. But I'm going to give you their story about buying this awesome multifamily and some of the insane details of how the transaction played out. Sometimes real estate has some crazy turns that you can't really expect, but these guys stuck it out and I think they bought a slam dunk of a building. So before we get into it, 2 super quick things, guys. If this is your first time on my channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button. And number 2, you already know it, but if you guys are thinking about doing anything with real estate around the Boston area, whether it's buying, selling, investing, whatever it is, hit me up on text, email, whatever you feel like, and I will definitely help you out. So I'm gonna get into JMVs Story. They reached out to me probably almost a year ago at this point. I think it was like last spring or summer of 2020, and they wanted to house hack a multifamily, and I'm gonna go to my patio. It's finally spring in Boston. So they reached out and they wanted to house hack a multifamily in the Boston area, and their goal was to buy something where they could live in. Obviously, they knew they wouldn't be able to live in for free, right? Because Boston's very expensive and the numbers simply just don't work for that. But they wanted somewhere where they could cut their living expenses quite a bit and eventually turn that building into a rental building. So, right away we started looking at areas like Revere, Everett, Malden, Chelsea, Dorchester, and really trying to hone down on some of the best properties that fit their criteria. Now, in these areas, when you're house hacking, especially if you're doing something like a 3-family of, say, a price of $800,000 to $1 million, when you account for, to actually talk about the financials, when you're actually analyzing a deal, if you're actually going to account for all the expenses a property has, right? Not only your mortgage, taxes, insurance, but then stuff like maintenance, repairs, utilities, vacancy, landscaping, and snow removal, right? And I've done other videos where I go in detail about that. But if you account for all of those details, the way most of these buildings pencil out is when you live in one of the units, it'll cost you about $1,000 to $1,500 a month to live in the unit, which is not bad, right? You're basically renting for $1,000 or $1,500 while owning an entire building. And then when you actually move out of the building and use all 3 units as a rental property, you can actually cash flow about $1,000 or so. $1,000, maybe $800 to $1,000, maybe $1,200, again, depending on the exact building. Now, again, this is also assuming you're gonna be house hacking using an FHA loan, right? Again, which I've done many videos about, but where you're putting down 5% down and using an FHA loan to get an owner-occupant loan for a multi-family. Now, I will say $1,000 a month in cash flow doesn't sound like a ton, and you might be saying, well, Leo, that's really not that much. It's only like $12,000 a year. That is true. It's not a ton of money, but you also got to remember when you're putting 5% down, right? You're only really putting, let's say, like $50,000 into the deal. So when you actually do the return on your investment, right, $12,000 on $50,000, you're actually typically looking at returns of 20 to 25+%, right? So actually very strong returns. And again, that's kind of the beauty of the FHA loan. It allows you to only put a small amount of cash down and your returns get amplified quite a bit. So we got to work really quick and started looking at a lot of properties. And I will tell you this, like I tell everyone that's looking to house hack, it's hard, right? It takes quite a at a time. You are not a competitive buyer as an FHA buyer, right? You're putting down very little, very small percentage, right? Usually 3.5% or 5%. An FHA loan, every good listing agent knows, is difficult to push through. There are many challenges, different appraisal issues that can happen, which I'll get to in this specific instance. So you are not going to be a competitive buyer. So the point is, you have to be ready as a buyer to be submitting a lot of offers. These guys, I think we were together looking for probably 3-4 months or so, maybe even a little bit longer. You know, I always tell this story. When I was buying my first property using this loan, I probably submitted like 25, 30 offers or something. So it does take a lot of muscle to push through. And not only that, you're probably gonna have to be pretty aggressive when submitting offers. You're gonna typically have to go pretty well over asking or be pretty aggressive on pricing. You're probably gonna have to drop your home inspection contingency, maybe do something like informational purposes only. So you have to get in the mindset of, you know, I'm gonna crunch through a bunch of offers, but I will need to be aggressive to really have a chance at landing one of these buildings with a 5% down loan. So after looking for quite a bit, and after we looked at many buildings, we actually ended up finding this 3-family in Everett that was actually sitting on the market, surprisingly. For some reason, it didn't appeal to a lot of people. I thought the building was actually great. It was a great triple decker. Honestly, the interiors were pretty good. I mean, needed a little bit of cleanup, but nothing massive. Mechanicals were really solid. They had pretty solid electrical, pretty solid plumbing. Again, nothing perfect, but for a multifamily building, overall was in pretty good condition. So we kind of attacked it pretty hard. We were able to get pretty attractive pricing on it. And we were able to put the deal together. Plus, I will say the numbers were really good, right? It was listed as 2-bedroom units for each unit. Each unit also had a living and dining room, and what we saw right away was we can convert the dining room into a 3rd bedroom. So they could actually use each unit as a 3-bedroom and really maximize cash flows while they own the property, which is obviously fantastic. Now, even though there were a lot of positives with the building and everyone was super excited, including JMV, and I was really very excited about it as well. Once we got into the transaction, we ran into quite a bit of problems. The first problem we hit was an appraisal issue. And I mentioned this before earlier in the video, but with an FHA, you need to appraise not only on value, but you also need to appraise on rents, right? Because basically, you, especially when buying a 3-family, you need to have a certain amount of income cover the projected expenses. And unfortunately, the appraiser we got really lowballed us on the rents, and it really jeopardized the transaction, right? Because basically it would be against FHA guidelines. You know, with the as-is appraisal, it wouldn't have worked. So we had to try and rebut the appraisal, and it was a hell of a battle. I tried to bring fresh new comps to the appraiser, explain to the appraiser that they were gonna basically convert the dining room into a 3rd bedroom. They're gonna use it as a 3-bed, 1-bath and maximize the rent. But the appraiser would just not listen. He was also using comps from fall of 2020, right? Because this was around December of 2020 when the appraisal happened. And you know, in the fall of 2020, that was kind of the low point in the rental market during the pandemic. And a lot of landlords at that time were slashing rents just to kind of fill up their units. So it was kind of a mixture of just bad appraisal with, you know, someone that really didn't understand the vision, plus kind of a crappy market, all mixed in one. So it took a lot of muscle to push it through. We really dug in through the data, went a little bit further back in time, got better comps, really made our argument to the appraisal. And after probably a couple of very stressful weeks, we're eventually able to get that value that we needed on the appraisal. So you might think, oh great, that's it, wrapped up, you know, ready to go and close. Unfortunately, that was probably 2 months into the transaction. Then we hit another major stumbling block. And this is kind of what I mean when you have to be flexible as a real estate investor, because we were ready to close, lender was ready to close. And then it turned out that one of the seller's lenders, right? So he had 2 mortgages on the property, a first mortgage and then a second position mortgage. And the lender of that second position mortgage literally refused to send a payoff. And if you don't know what a payoff is, basically a debt collector or lender will send a payoff saying, hey, if you want us to release this lien on the property, this is what you owe us. If you pay this amount of money, we're gonna release the lien, right? But this debt collector would just not release the payoff. And this literally probably lasted 2, maybe 3 months, where both attorneys, both the buyer's attorney and seller's attorney, we're trying to work with the debt collector to get the payoff. And it just caused such a nightmare, right? Because for the buyers, we had to keep extending their loan, which meant fees that had to be paid. And obviously just a lot of stress, right? Because we just didn't know when we were gonna close. It actually got to the point where the attorneys had to threaten the debt collector with potential legal action because it violated some consumer laws. And even that still took a little bit while to really push through. Like it really just seemed like the debt collector couldn't really care. So it was a total, you know, if I'm gonna be honest, crap show. It was just really hard to get that final payoff. But after many months, we finally got it. So it is now the end of April. Again, we got this building under contract in November, and we are about to close tomorrow. So, you know, it took a while, but we are finally here. So I'm gonna put my shoes on, go drive over to the property, and give you guys a quick video tour of the property, show you guys everything that they're planning on doing, how they're gonna convert it, and give you guys the full tour. All right, so I am inside the units now. As I said, so the whole building is gonna be delivered vacant. So this is unit number 2. It's a triple decker, so units are identical, but as you can kind of see from the background here, units are really pretty solid, right? I mean, a little coat of paint's gonna go a long way. Decent cabinets. I mean, not amazing, but you know, for rental quality, it's gonna get the job done. You know, you got solid sized rooms. It's the living room. Actually, what's cool is on the top units, you can see this is like actually the dining room traditionally, and they already kind of have it walled off a little bit. So this one's gonna be really easy to convert from a dining room to a bedroom. You just literally stick that door right there, boom, call it a day. 3-bed, 1-bath with a living room. You get an extra like $300-400 in rent. That's how you make money. So really solid overall. I mean, as I continue to walk through, boom, another bedroom behind me. I mean, these are really bread and butter units with really just a few touch-ups. These are gonna be really nice. This unit actually I remember really well. I remember during inspection, it's so bright. Like you got the orange here, got the green in the back, got the purple bathroom. Whoever lived here had a really good time decorating, painting the walls. A little orange, a little blue over there, like aqua teal in the back. Light green in the kitchen. I love this unit. I don't know if I'd live in here, I would probably do a little bit of a paint job. Oh yeah, and the red cabinet. I forgot about that, that's funny. I would probably paint it myself, but hey, everyone's got their style. I can see someone actually really liking this. And again, here you can see I'm standing in the living room, which again, traditionally the dining room. Here they have French doors set up. They already have the doors. There. So you can either keep it as is or put a traditional door, and again, make it a 3-bed, 1-bath, get an extra couple $100 in rent. Very easy to do, very solid. A lot of people do that in the Boston area. So whether you're buying a multi or if you're gonna buy a condo too, that's another thing that we typically look for, is if you can convert that dining room to that additional bedroom.